Hello everyone, welcome to Gate Academy. I am Saket Verma and I have done my MTech from IIT Guwahati in signal processing, and I will be teaching you electromagnetics, that is also known as EMT. So without wasting your time, let's get started. So this course is divided into certain chapters like the electrostatic, magnetostatic, plane of propagation, transmission line, waveguide, antenna and radar and optical fiber. So I am going to teach you all these chapters in detail along with the numericals and the previous year gate questions and also the questions from the other exam. And here we will be providing you some practice questions and assignment questions, and the question solution for that practice questions will also be given to you. Now if as you know that this subject is actually in the tougher side of the whole syllabus of the gate, so that's why there will be a smart approach to have a command over this subject. So for that you should start this particular subject from the chapter that is plane wave propagation. So to have the command in this subject, what you have to do is, let's see first of all what you have to prepare and what are the things which is going to cover in this syllabus. So first of all, in the chapter 1 we are having a coordinate system and del operator. This will be your first chapter. So this is the basic chapter. So if you want to prepare this subject with the basics, so you have to prepare this chapter first, or you have to understand this chapter first, because this is the basic of all the chapters. So after preparing this chapter you can jump into any chapter and to have the command in this subject. And if you are saying that you want to solve the many questions from the this particular subject, then what you have to do is you have to prepare from the plane wave propagation. As I told you that the plane wave propagation and the transmission line, waveguide and antenna are the major chapter of this subject, from which the questions is asked many times. So in this chapter, coordinate system and del operator, we will cover the topics like the Cartesian coordinate system, spherical coordinate system, and cylindrical coordinate system. And in all this coordinate system we will cover the differential length, surface and volume. Differential length, differential surface and differential volume we will cover in all these three coordinate system and their relationship. Interrelationship, the relationship between the spherical and Cartesian, the relationship between the Cartesian and cylindrical, and so on. And now we will study the del operator. After this we will study the del operator, and this del operator is having 4 parts, that is gradient, divergence, curl and Laplacian. And in this we will also study about the divergence theorem. In the curl, we will study the Stokes theorem, and some vector identities. So this thing has been covered in this particular part and in the coordinate system. So this is our first chapter. So after preparing this first chapter, we can directly move to the plane wave propagation, because this plane wave propagation is having the higher weightage compared to the basic chapter that is called electrostatic and magnetostatic. So the next chapter you should study is chapter 2, that is a plane wave propagation. So plane wave propagation. So what are the topics that we have to cover in this plane wave propagation, or I can say that what are the topics I have covered in this particular chapter. So the topics are wave equation, propagation through different media, propagation of plane wave through different media, then reflection at normal and oblique incidence, pointing vector or pointing theorem, then reflection coefficient and VSWR, reflection coefficient and standing wave pattern, standing wave ratio or standing wave pattern, location of maxima and minima, polarization, these are the different topics that I have been covered in this particular chapter. So in polarization there are three types, that is linear, circular and elliptical. So these are the three different type of polarization. So in this chapter you have to prepare these topics, and this chapter is having the good weightage in our exam. So compared to the other chapters like electrostatic and electrostatic, the number of topic is more in this chapter, and that is why they are having more weightage. Now next chapter that we should prepare is chapter 3, which is transmission line. In transmission line, the different topics are that I have covered is the transmission line equation, then different types of transmission line, lossless and distortionless, and low loss transmission line. After this, we have to consider this input impedance of transmission line, then we have to study about the quarter wave transformer. So this topic is covered, quarter wave transformer, and after quarter wave transformer we are having Smith chart, reflection coefficient and voltage standing wave ratio and current standing wave ratio, again the location of maxima and minima, okay, and scattering parameter. So location of maxima minima comes under reflection coefficient and standing wave pattern and standing wave ratio, and then scattering parameter is Smith chart and also impedance matching. So these are the topics that have been covered in this particular chapters. Now next is chapter number 4, waveguide. So in waveguide we have to consider again the waveguide equation. So waveguide equation, dispersion relationship, in which we study about the cutoff frequency, cutoff wavelength, we study about the phase velocity, group velocity, intrinsic impedance, phase constant. So these are the different topics that will be covered, and about the different modes. So modes in waveguide, and power transmission in waveguide. So these are the different topics that will be covered, and here we have to mainly study about the rectangular waveguide. There may be a different type of waveguide, but we have to study only about the rectangular waveguide. So this will be the sequence to which you have to study in preparing this subject. Now next is chapter 5, antenna. Now in this chapter you have to study about the Hertzian dipole, half wave dipole, quarter wave monopole, and loop antenna. So in all these 4 type of antenna we have to cover. So here we have to cover the radiation equation, okay, that is the field equation. Actually I can say the field equation, and the radiation resistance, and average power pointing vector or power density. So these are the things which we have to cover in this particular chapter, and that I have been covered in this particular topics. Now the next is antenna characteristics. The next topic is antenna characteristics. So in this topic we have to cover about the radiation intensity, radiation pattern or antenna pattern, directivity and power gain, effective aperture area, etc. There will be more topic in this. So these are the different characteristics of antenna, and after this we will study about the polarization loss factor, and after polarization loss factor we have the Friis transmission equation, and also antenna array. So in antenna array we will study about the uniform linear array. We will derive the array factor. We will consider the end fire array, broadside array, and in these types of array we will consider the half power beam width between first null and directivity about this type of array. So these are the 5 chapters that we have to cover in this sequence, and if you prepare in this manner, this subject is going to be very easy for you. So if you start with the electrostatic and magnetostatic, it may be possible that you have get the good idea about the basics, but it is found that the students find difficulties when they prepare the coordinate system and after that electrostatic and magnetostatic. So I have taken the review from the students and they said that the electrostatic and magnetostatic syllabus is very vast and it is difficult to cover everything, and the weightage is also very less. So that is why you should prepare in the way that I have told you, and if you prepare in this way, this subject is a cup of cake for you. Okay, so now we will the chapter which is left is the electrostatic and magnetostatic, and that we will discuss. So next is chapter 6, that is electrostatic. So the topics that is covered in this particular chapter is starting from the Coulomb's law. The major topics I am writing here, I have covered many topics in this particular chapter, but I am writing only the major topics. So that is the Coulomb's law, electric field intensity, Gauss law, electric flux, and then potential, capacitance, boundary conditions, method of image, so these are the main topics that I have covered in this particular chapters. So and in each topic there are many other subtopics So that's why there is a very vast syllabus actually this chapter is particular having, and it is having only the weightage of one question, or that is in fact in the 3 to 4 years. In every 3 to 4 years the question is asked from this chapter is only one or maybe two. So that's why the weightage is very less, and we have the other 5 chapters to prepare and they are having the more weightage. That's why we should prepare this chapter at the end. After the preparing these 5 chapters that we have discussed, you should prepare this chapter, because if you suppose leave this chapter, then also you can get the good marks in this subject. So if the weightage of this subject is suppose a 5 to 6 questions, then you will be able to solve the question, at least minimum 4 questions you will be able to solve if you prepare the rest 5 chapters that we have discussed. So you can leave this chapter even if you are having the lack of time. So these are the topics that I have covered, and along with the good number of questions. Next is chapter 7, which is magnetostatic. And in this chapter we are having topics like Biot-Savart's law, Ampere's law, magnetic flux, and magnetic flux density, and magnetic scalar potential, magnetic scalar and vector potential, okay, and boundary condition. So that is known as magnetic boundary condition, magnetic force, that is the Lorentz equation, inductance, Faraday's law. So these are the topics that I have covered in this particular chapter. So you can see these are the, again we are having the many number of topics, and each topic is having the sub part as well. So that is why this overall this chapter 6 and 7 become very vast, and the weightage of the combined chapter 6 and 7 is actually only 1 or 2 questions. So this is very difficult to prepare this subject and have a good command over this subject instead of that chapter. Okay, so that's why we should prepare the rest of the 5 chapter first, and then these 2 chapters, and the last chapter that you can consider is chapter 8, which is radar and optical fiber. And this chapter you can prepare very easily, so you cannot leave this chapter while you are preparing this subject. So this chapter cannot be left. So along with the 5 chapter you can prepare this chapter, because this is having very less topic and very few formulas to remember. So here we will cover the radar range equation, maximum unambiguous range, ray theory, and about the numerical aperture and acceptance angle, and the types of optical fiber, and number of modes, cutoff wavelength, and V number. So these are the different topics that we have to cover in this particular chapter. Only these topics, they are it is not having any subtopic. These are the topics which is to be covered, and I have covered everything. So the formulas related to these topics are very simple and very easy to remember. So along with the chapter 5, starting 5 chapter that we have discussed, then you should prepare this chapter number 8, and after that, if you are having the sufficient time and you are having a good command over the subjects till now, so now you can prepare this subject, because these subjects are having very less weightage. Again I am saying this thing because this chapter 6 and 7 is bit difficult to prepare. The rest of the subjects are easy to understand and easy to prepare and easy to solve the numericals related to these chapters. So these are all about the syllabus of the subject EMT, and all the topics which I had written in the board I have covered in our course, and I have given the good quality practice questions and assignment questions, and obviously the solution will be provided to you and answer key will be provided to you, and the doubt solving part will be very good in this case. Here we will consider your doubt, whatever your doubt you are facing, we will be we will be able to solve your question with the help of that app, our app, that is GET app. So these are the topics that I have covered in this particular chapter. So this is all about the whole syllabus of the subject EMT. So whatever I just wrote on the board, I have covered in detail along with the good quality questions and the questions from the previous year as well. And the few questions are provided for your practice and few questions are for your assignment, and the solution of your practice questions will be given to you, and you will feel like a classroom program. There will be one-to-one interaction with you guys. The doubts about the doubt solving, so the doubt solving will be done with the help of the GATE Academy application, and we will be in touch with you throughout the preparation of your GATE. Thank you.